Welcome back to the Nerdcore podcast number 462. No, 463, my bad. Uh, yep, and as always, it is the Nerd Chick here, the whole show, alongside my wonderful co host. I just fucked up my whole intro, but whatever. It's Brad, Young Yoda.
Sup, everybody?
What's up, man?
Nothing much.
Yep, just another wonderful day in paradise, huh?
Just another day.
Yep. Yeah. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Monday night when this is live, yeah, or whenever you're listening to this. Hope you're having a good time. And we're here to continue on with our month looking at the films of Yasujiro Ozu as we go back in time to 1953 today because we're talking about his one of his biggest, one of his most his most famous work, yeah, his most famous movie, and that is Tokyo Story. But before we get into any of that stuff, what's up, Brad? How you doing today?
Doing all right. Doing all right. No complaints. So,
No complaints.
nothing.
The, Kylie says, hopefully the more normal show. Yesterday was something, yeah, yeah.
Yesterday was normal.
Yesterday was normal. What are you talking about? This is the abnormal.
This is the
Um,
abnormal shows.
yeah. Well, I'm glad to be here with you, Brad. What's it called? We get to talk about this movie, and this is my pick. This is my first pick for the month, and I'm doing all right, man. What's it called? Just another day here, another Monday, and it doesn't really get any much more
Piece of the
different than
wounded.
the Mondays. I finished writing a review today, and it's up on the site. And what's it called? Watch this movie, and took care of dogs. Basically, what I do most of these couple of days. So. Uh, Now I'm just gonna have to catch up on a bunch of 2021 releases to finish up what I have left to watch because I also have a lot of reviews that I have backed up
Mm-hmm.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yes, yep. I got a bunch of reviews backed up. But it's gonna be a great week. It's gonna look a little weird this week because what's it called? I have something to do on Thursday. So tomorrow is our Eternals review. We'll be talking about that movie tomorrow. And then on Wednesday we'll be off. Thursday we'll be off, and we'll see you guys again on Friday as we talk about Hawkeye episode 5 for the review on the live show. And then Saturday, I think I'm actually gonna be here because I forgot that I watched Spider-Man at 3:15, not at like 8. So
Ooh,
I'll be here, and I'll probably give you all a little bit of thoughts on Spider-Man, and then
Spider-Man.
yeah,
Spider-Man.
Sunday another show, live show. You know, um, I'm really excited for you to react to Andy Serkis's movie. Oh man, I know you are just waiting for next month. Once I'm able to get my PC, we're gonna do that. Well, has your computer made a way to be shipped to Wrigley to
Wrigley
Wrigley
Field.
Wrigley Field? No, not yet. I think it gets on Thursday. It gets to my place on Thursday, so I'm excited for that to be the case because I really, really, really hope
I'm
that
worried
thing
about
gets.
that.
Yeah, I'm worried about that motherfucker, dude. Like, really worried about that thing. Um, and also, I fucking miss my PC, man. I really miss my PC. Um, but yeah, it's been a good day, man, and I'm glad to be able to go ahead and get to talk about this movie because this movie, what's it called, has been one that I've been trying to scratch off the list for a bit now, and let's just say I was not disappointed at all. So, Brad, let's go ahead and talk. Let's go ahead and talk about this movie. Let's go ahead and read from Wikipedia.
Okay. Since this is from 1953, y'all ain't getting no spoiler warning. Tokyo Story is a
They
1953
know the rules.
Japanese drama film directed by Yasuhiro Ozu and starring Shishu Ryu and Chieko Higashiyama, about an aging couple who travel to Tokyo to visit their grown children. Upon initial release, it did not immediately gain international recognition and was considered too Japanese to be marketable by Japanese film exporters. It was screened in 1957 in London, where it won the inaugural Sutherland Trophy the following year and received praise from U.S. film critics after a 1972 screening in New York City. Tokyo Story is widely regarded as Ozu's masterpiece and today is one of the greatest films ever made. In 2012, it was voted the greatest film of all time in a poll of film directors by Sight and Sound magazine. And screenplay by Kogo Noda, Yasuhiro Ozu, produced by Takashi Yamamoto, Cinematography, Yaharu Atsuta.
Yep.
Edited by Yoshiyasu Hamamura. Music by Takanobu Saito. And yeah.
Yeah. Stacy brings up a really interesting thing. He says, well, it's set in Japan? Spoilers.
Sheesh.
Oh my god. Well, you're probably asking why Brad is reading that. Well, because any other program that runs at the same time as my computer, what's it called, seems to slow my computer down tenfold. So, it was not fun trying to watch this film while I, what's it called, while I try to fix the titles for the audio episodes. But show, what's up, man? Thanks for being here. Game looks amazing. Yeah, what's it called? Unreal Engine 5. Shit. Yeah. So um my initial thoughts, man. Um so I started watching this and having I've already seen another Ozu, right? This was I was like, okay, I'm gonna see a little bit of that, that framing that we had seen before in the last film and stuff like that. So I already was already amazed by how that looked and everything, of course. But the story was like at first I didn't really know what the fuck was going on because like it starts off like really kind of just like
The
throwing us in
day
there.
the day in the life.
Yeah, yeah, kind of that slice of life, and they just threw us in like that. And as the story progressed and more was being revealed, and not necessarily like on screen through the dialogue, what was being revealed, I was starting to realize like, oh, I think I know exactly what Ozu's trying to talk about here. And the more that we kind of followed the film, and the more that was being expressed, and when these twists and turns come in, I found myself like enjoying this movie so much. And then the more that I was like allowing it to sit with me after I was done, I realized that I fucking love this movie. That I think this movie truly is one of his masterpieces because um it's so simply shot. The camera, I think the camera moves once on a shot.
Hmm.
It's stationary most of the time. And it's really kind of dependent on the dialogue that's being spoken, and it's able to do so much and talk about so much at the same time without doing a lot on screen. But Brad, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go next. What are your initial thoughts right now on Yasujiro Ozu's Turkish Story?
I mean, for me, the first hour of this movie is kind of difficult to get through, but once that hour mark hits, it sucks you in. Like the story sucks you in then. Because the first hour is basically a family who's just pawning off their mother and father because they don't want to deal with them. So it's
Yeah,
it's not the most exciting thing ever put on film. But I agree with you. The framing in this, like Ozu knows the shit. I mean, beautiful
yeah,
settings, like yeah, like the cinematography in this is just it's great. Um the acting, some of the like the first hour, the acting to me is just I don't know. Some I don't know if there's because there's a part where you have Noriko talking to the
hmm
mom and she just smiles and it becomes an awkward smile for like 2 minutes as she just smiling
yeah,
and nods and you're like that was kind of awkward. And that's
yeah,
just how I feel. A lot of the dialogue and a lot of the actions by the actors in this is kind of awkward.
yeah. So like I see that I was reading a little bit, like I was doing a little bit of research before we got on here because I really wanted to see a little more about what Ozu exactly was trying to talk about here. And it was stated that like he's trying to talk a lot about the breakup of the traditional Japanese family, because after World War II ends, basically Japan adopts pretty much all
Western.
of the capitalist ideals of the West, or the Western world.
Yeah.
And with that, there seems to be a rift in the family of Japanese people, where the kids start to like what's it called, kind of break apart from parents, and they start to, what's it called, seek out more of the individualistic compared to like the communal view of the family before, in what's it called, pre World War II. And I found that really interesting. I think he does a really good job of that, because there's a lot of scenes in here where like, you know, these kids are just the absolute fucking worst. And at times it reminds me a lot of the family of the man
Hmm.
in Ikiru, who kind of just pretty much treat their parents like she treats his parents like shit.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these kids just and it's like a lot of these kids are treating their two parents like so bad, man. And it's like the only person who seems to treats them like human beings, or the person who's not even related by blood.
The daughter-in-law, yeah.
Yeah. And even then though, like, what's it called, she seems to be carrying a lot of weight on her shoulders, though, feeling like, that she's disappointing them because she's starting to, like, forget about her deceased husband.
Hmm.
But Brad, what did you think about the familial, like, aspect of this movie?
Yeah, I feel like this family is certainly very rude. And I don't know, like I was telling you before, I don't know if it's a lost in translation thing with the dialogue, but this family just comes off as extremely rude. And I mean, yeah, treats their parents like shit. Um, there were some comments in there I would have been backhanded through the wall. I'm just saying. Like the one comment where like, well, mom, you embarrassed me so much when I was younger because you were so fat. It's just like
Hey,
you be
we got
dead.
we did.
Bitch, you be dead. Like then they have a like, but even the parents somewhat come off like rude, like to Noriko when they're like, you should just forget about our son, and it's just like that seems kind of rude too. Like
Yeah.
I get it's been 8 years, but like maybe she's still got some trauma going through that. And
and, and I
there's just
guess
a whole
that's kind
cultural
of,
difference,
yeah.
really. I think.
And I guess that's a bit of, like, a bit of what Ozu's kind of talk about in here. How, like, like, Japan is literally just getting out of, like, this. This is supposed to be set in literally 1953.
Mm,
So, like, that's 8 years after the war ends. And literally, what's it called? The country's literally trying to, what's it called, recover from two bombings that pretty much just derailed that
in a
country.
war,
Yeah.
like the war wasn't just the bombings; it was like the whole fucking island.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, you have this rift in the family because, what's it called? The war fucks up, the country itself, right? The physical landscape,
Hmm.
but it also fucks up the way that the people are starting to address each other, and how they're trying to recover, what was kind of lost in that period of time when they were at war, and they weren't actually able to advance their societal, what's it called, norm. And they start to, indulge themselves in kind of adapting the Western view of life, which is more individualistic because of capitalism. And, they seem to be getting more of these capitalistic ideals. That's why we see that one son who, is like, fuck it, I was on business, I'm sorry, I wasn't here for
Yeah.
my parents. Like, and like throughout that, I just look at it and I'm like, dude, you literally could have called off. Like, you literally could have, like, that, the daughter-in-law literally asked for a day off from her job to go to, what's it called, to make sure that she could spend time and show them around the city.
Hmm.
Like, nah, like, I and that's kind of the part that just, like, I guess breaks my heart the most, Brad, because this isn't a story that's only relevant to 1953.
Oh, that's relevant. All this is still relevant.
Yeah, still very
My
relevant.
my issue really with the story in the background is Ozu kind of muddles the waters there when he shows the dad had a drinking problem for a long
Yeah,
time. That muddles the waters, and if you've ever been or had alcoholic parents, yeah, that kind of strains the relationship there. So I can understand the elder ones not necessarily wanting to spend time with their parents, especially if they had an alcoholic father.
yeah,
So it kind of muddles the message there for me. Like I get what he's saying. He's saying generations they're moving away from the whole familial unit. They're becoming more focused on their work and stuff. Well, then this one son, he's going. A kid has 102-degree fever. He's going to do that. But then another thing that gets me is the dad gets drunk and talks shit about his son. And he's go, oh, he's a doctor, but he's only a neighborhood doctor. What the fuck is that? Like this whole family is fucking rude.
yeah. And you see, you're starting to see, like nobody seems to be on the same page here, and I
No.
think that that's also, like, nobody in Japan seems to know what exactly we're supposed to do to move past what we literally just went through like 8 years ago. And I was I was also really, what's it called, surprised at how, like, you do bring up the fact that you kind of understand why these kids are kind of straining from him, but like
especially the older
I
ones
also feel.
because they stopped drinking at
Mhm,
Kyoko. So Kaizo would be too young to probably remember his dad in the alcoholic phase because he was pretty close in age to Kyoko. And but the
mhm.
other two older ones, they probably have more of an idea.
Yeah. But somehow, like, I feel like throughout, like, from what we were seeing, especially, I felt there was a sort of remorse and regret from what's it called, from the father, you know, because like I don't like what's it called, after that scene, and after we see them at the funeral, like the father seems to like kind of understand why, like, his kids don't want to be around him anymore,
Yeah.
and he's being like, it's fine, like, you go and do your stuff, and I'm gonna stay here. And sadly, I think at the end we're kind of emphasize the message of like, you know, if we do
Even that
nothing.
neighbor lady was a fucking bitch. Like, you
Yeah,
gonna be lonely. You gonna be
yeah,
lonely. Okay, you have a good day being lonely. And just walks off. What the
yeah,
hell?
yeah, and I think we're kind of emphasize the idea of like, like, what's it called? You're gonna be alone, and if you never try to fix shit with your kids and try to,
Yeah.
what's it called, rebuild that relationship, you're not gonna
Uh,
fix it. But how are you supposed to when what's it called? The landscape of your country is changing day by day. And, it's changing
but
too
like this
much.
is definitely like one of those films that it transitions time. It's like Ikiru.
Yeah,
Um because you could say this nowadays with when they get to the bar and all the old guys are talking shit about the younger generation. No, they don't do this. Fucking boomers. Fucking
yeah.
boomers right
Ah, those
there.
goddamn millennials.
Yeah, fucking boomers. And you know
Yeah.
what? It don't change. The older generation
No.
always going to say they had it harder, that they worked harder, or blah 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 blah. It's always going to be
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. And but I what's it called? I found this movie to be like really like enriching, and like, how I felt there was like so much being said here. And I think that specifically though, I was looking at this film because this does have a 4K, what's it called, transfer to it. um I noticed how, like, there are parts in this movie where it does look really clean, it looks really
Hmm.
nicely restored, and then there's moments where like maybe the negative was just, too fucked up, man. Like there was just
And they even
un-
didn't want
they weren't
attention.
able to clean it up,
Yeah.
thoroughly.
I
um
did love all like I did love when they went to the spa and it was like on the ocean and they had
oh,
those shots. Those are beautiful shots.
oh
I love
yeah,
the Tokyo shots. I would like to go to Tokyo one day and just go see if I could like find those shots somewhere if
yeah.
those buildings still exist. So it was cool to see like Tokyo back in the day.
Yeah, I like how it's specifically like, you know when the father says like, no, you go with with the daughter-in-law, because what's it called, we don't have enough space at the Horimoto's, what's it called, their place. So when we get to their place, we actually do see the fact that there actually is no space. They're like in we're kind of like being confined to this, like really boxed into this space with them
Hmm.
because of this beautiful cinematography. I mean,
Yeah.
Ozu knows how to fucking frame, bro. This man knows how to frame.
Oh yeah, like any shots like it was framed perfectly. Like
Yeah,
I give him that. Like that was great.
yeah. But I see that we still got some time here. Maybe what's it called? I
Can
didn't
I
start.
just say like what also got me from the beginning is there wasn't any music. Like the music didn't kick in until
Mm-hmm.
like after the first couple scenes, so it was really weird. Like they were in the house the whole time. There was no music, but then the music kicked in, and I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, like because I thought we were about to have a film with like no music, and that kind of
yeah.
threw me off. I'm like, I don't know about this one because I'm looking. I'm like, this is a 2 hour 17-minute movie. I don't know about this.
Yeah. And to be fair, I felt like exactly like you. Like once that hour finishes, I think everything after pretty much just, what's it called, flies by really
It
good.
hooks you
Like,
in.
yeah,
It's for some reason that first hour where the kids are basically like just sending their parents because
yeah.
at the hour mark, that's basically when they get word that their mom is sick,
Mm-hmm.
like or dying or whatever you want to call it, and so they head off that way. But for the first hour, it's basically just you're following the parents, like either
Yeah.
not going anywhere or going somewhere or being shuttled somewhere. Um, and it's not the most I guess, entertaining thing to watch. I mean,
Yeah,
beautiful shots and everything, but that last hour, like that's where like it really comes in. Although Noriko's smile keeps that her smile just like it's like a painful smile. Like is she smiling to smile?
yeah,
She just smiled to like cover some like to try to not like cry and shit. Because even at the end, she smiles with the youngest daughter when she's talking to her, and it's like I don't know, if this is the best time to be having that smile.
yeah. And I also just what's it called? Like I when we get to the funeral and like everybody's so sad, right? And then we literally juxtapose it like right after in that dinner where everybody seems to be all smiles and everyone's like, "Oh, I
Now I'm
want to take
stealing all
this."
your mom, all my mom's shit. Like I want
Yeah.
this, this. Can you get that for me? Like what? But then even Kyoko was like, the fuck, right?
Fuck is wrong with you guys? And like, and I like, I mean, I guess to like an extent, like, I mean, I get it, man. Like, they're drifting apart, and they don't exactly know how to express it. But like, Yoko's also in the right, being like, dude, she's not even fucking dead. She's not even been buried for like a whole month yet, and you've already wanted what's it called, clean her clothes and what's it called, take
And
everything, and it's just like, you know,
I think it's another thing of how people deal with loss. Like
yeah,
there's some people like who can deal with loss pretty easy, and there's some who cry about it a little bit and then they're done. And then you have others who try to run away from it. So it might be a whole combination of like because you don't get enough to know like what all these people are about.
mm,
Um, but you get like glimpses on like can I really say the grandkids are shit because they don't want to spend time with their grandparents? Not really. Their grandparents apparently have never met them before, and this is
yeah,
like 18 years later, or however many years later. Like I get that. Like to me, this falls on the heads of the grandparents too.
yeah. Yeah, it's hands on the hands of the grandparents and but also the parents as well, who like they rather be concerned with the what's it called with the work life to not take their kids out. And I guess like what's it called, I'm saying, I think that calls back, well, of course, to like the fact that the Japan is adopting the capitalist ideas where they're like, work is the important thing, work, 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 work.
Well,
And
and
but there were two specific moments that really got me, man, here. The first one was, of course, when the grandma goes on a walk with her grandson, and she asks him like, "Do you want to be a doctor like your what's it called, like your parents?" And kid's not saying shit, right? But like she
mhm.
goes, "By the time you become a doctor, I won't be here anymore." And I'm like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, and he's
Yeah,
too young to even realize what that means.
yeah. And the second part, which was probably one of the most heartbreaking moments to me, I think it's a lot more heartbreaking than the funeral in itself. Um, when they come back from the spa, and her own daughter, the daughter-in-law, I think, right, has
Mhm.
the fucking, or was it the daughter?
It was the daughter-in-law, the one that gave her the
Daughter,
money.
yeah. What's it called? That's a fucking balls to tell her like, oh no, we wanted you in here so that way you would be out, so we could use your room for the business talk, because what's it called? We're gonna have people over.
Oh, that
And I'm
wasn't the
like,
daughter-in-law. That was the daughter.
daughter, yeah, the daughter has the balls enough to tell her, and I'm like, that fucking breaks my heart, man. These people just traveled so long to see you, what's it called, and they want to see you and want to spend time with you, for you to be like, go and do this thing so that way we can get rid of you for like a couple of hours in a couple of days, so that way we can do our business stuff. And it's like that shit
But
broke my heart, bro.
and it definitely speaks to Japan trying to build back their economy.
Yeah.
This was an issue. This was a cultural shift, um, which is portrayed pretty well by Ozu. I still
Hmm.
think that if you only look at that cultural differences, you're not seeing the whole story because
Hmm.
those older kids, like, they had to deal with an alcoholic father. Like, they
Yeah.
admit it throughout this film that the dad drank a lot.
Yeah.
And then, the mother probably enabled that. So that just puts a strain on all those relationships.
Yeah.
So I kind of get it on why those kids were shit to their parents.
Yeah.
Um, do I like wish they weren't? Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you're going from that backstory, then you
Yeah.
kind of got to see it from both sides.
I think that the film kind of emphasizes the fact that it's kind of both sides, and seeing like, these weren't perfect parents, and, but they're not being perfect children either. And I
No,
think that like, you know I think that at the end we kind of like have the emphasis that like, it's not that we should strive to be perfect, people. I think that we should strive enough to be there for each other. Not what's it called, and not be left alone, and not entirely feel like we need to get the job done always, but not entirely feel like we need to abandon it. To make sure that everything is good in the family.
I just think that last conversation of the daughter-in-law and the youngest daughter of life is really disappointing, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Amen to that, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and give Tokyo Story a 9.5 out of 10. I fucking love this movie. I can't wait to rewatch this. I want to buy this one on Criterion because this is one that I definitely want to watch these supplements. I see that there's like a bunch of like documentaries and interviews, but I think that what's it called, Ozu has really like reeled me in with this one, and I think that I'm really really interested to watch not just another one of his early work, but also like I want to see Good Morning and see how he kind of what's it called starts bringing more about these themes, because I think that's another family drama film that he has. Brad, what are you gonna go ahead and give Tokyo Story?
I will give Tokyo Story an 8.5 out of 10. I just
All
think it
right.
takes way too long to get to like the real core of the story. That first hour, you didn't need that first hour to be an hour.
Yeah. Now you gave Floating Weeds 8.5 as well. Do you much prefer Floating Weeds, or you like this one a little more?
About the same,
About the
honestly.
same.
About the same.
All right. All right. Well, next week we're going to be covering Good Morning, and I'm interested in that. That's another one of his color films, and then we'll go from there. But I want to thank everybody for being in here and listening to this episode, and listening to our review on Tokyo Story. Shout out to Kevin; he's in here as well in the chat. Kevin,
Hi,
how you
Kevin.
recovering? Because I was talking to Kevin last night, and he said that his throat hurt from laughing so much last night.
That was pretty fucking. That was pretty. That like I was almost not gonna come on that episode because I was kind of tired, and I'm like,
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's fucking do it.
yeah. You glad you came on, Brad?
Yeah, I'm glad I came on. That was fucking hilarious.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I thought I was gonna have to call it off, man. And I was like, I hope Brad comes in, and I think we're all better for the fact that that episode happened.
Sometimes you just need a completely asinine episode
Yeah,
where it's
yeah,
me just showing video games for 30 minutes of just
yeah.
ancient video games, and then the rest of the fucking 30 to hour 30 or hour just being complete insanity.
Well, I think last night was a perfect example of what the live show originally was going to be, but we realized that we
There
can't
have
do
been a
that.
few of those episodes that have happened. It hasn't happened in a bit for some reason, but I don't know. Last night, like the stars aligned, and we were all just like punch drunk.
Yeah, but I want to thank you all so much, and of course, we want to thank our wonderful patrons who make
We got
these
a few
shows
more.
happen. Yep.
Up,
We've got
you
a couple
froze.
of people we need to shout out. So, what's up, Brett?
You froze.
Oh, no, I didn't.
You did.
Oh,
On my screen. I don't know.
I'm moving on my screen.
Okay, you're good
Uh,
now.
okay.
Hurry up.
Um, But hurry up. I want to thank our wonderful producers and our writers, our associate producer, Sarah, of course. Thank you so much. Congratulations to my cousin, Sarah. She just graduated from university. So, congrats to her.
Congrats.
Teacher in the making, my friends. And I'm really happy for her. So, thank you so much for your
Big
continued
things.
support, Sarah. But also, congratulations on this huge milestone. I want to thank our wonderful executive producer, Shane, where they can find him, Bradley.
You can follow our friend Shane at twitch.tv/XSRK or on Twitter at XSRK underscore, or go buy something from the Suppy God at thriftedil.com or in Illinois.
Prison City Vintage. I'll make sure that I'll be on what's it called? I'll go live on Instagram
Yeah,
Live.
you gotta
Talk.
like do a vlog or something in there and just
Yeah,
like go chill on his couch.
yeah. It's gonna be like, so where's the fucking Hitchcock shirt? You son of a bitch. come in
Give
with
me the
a with
Hitchcock
a
shirt.
come in with like a hat covering most of my eyes and the mask, and I'll be like, so I kind of collect my Hitchcock shirt, you asshole. Oh man. But I want to what's it called? Thank you all so much for being the producers and our writers. We have a couple of here, so I got to get through some of these. But of course, our wonderful Tony
Hey, Tony.
at Real Nerdy Dad on Twitter. and our wonderful Kylie. Kylie. Oh, Kylie. Kylie PLI on Twitter. Go and follow her. She's awesome. But we also want to shout out Rachel, who
Rachel.
has just informed us of
Yep.
our pick
Hmm.
for next month. God, we are going to have a busy month. Because remember, Brad, because Luis is going to resubscribe, Brad, once he gets his new credit card in. So that's going to make me,
I mean,
oh,
I
God.
like they are paying. I will watch. I will watch
Yeah.
all these horrible movies.
Yeah.
I will sit there and I will gladly taunt and like heckle these movies. Like it is what I do.
What the fuck is Stacy saying? Wait, I don't know.
So he's talking about Shane. He's like, Roll could
Oh,
direct
yeah.
one of those commercials for him that comes on at 3 in the morning, like Shane's World Gone Wild or something.
Oh, my God. All right, whatever. You can find Rachel at Lucky Peach with a V instead of a U on everywhere, and go ahead and listen to the Luckiest Peach podcast on all podcast platforms.
Also, I am currently mad at Rachel.
Why, Brad?
She bought me a gift, or they bought me a gift. Sorry.
Let them buy you a fucking gift, Brad.
No, like y'all don't need to be spending no money on me. I can spend enough
Fuck you,
money by
Brad.
myself.
Let them buy you gifts, Brad. Let the people buy you gifts. They care
Don't
about
buy
you and
me
they love doing
gifts.
it. So shut the fuck up.
I appreciate it though. So I'm just
All
saying,
right.
y'all don't need to be out here buying me gifts.
Shut the fuck up, Brad. You bought me the Cocker trilogy.
So
Yeah.
it's different.
Let's shut up, Brad. Let them buy you gifts, goddammit. People love you. They care about you and they love
You
to
gotta
buy
save
gifts.
up for festivals, yo.
All
Spend your
right, that's
money
me,
there.
motherfucker. But let
Spend your
Rachel
money
buy you
there.
the fucking gift.
Well, Rachel already bought me a gift,
Yeah.
so they were
Fuck
like,
it.
I already
Fuck
bought
off,
it for you. I'm
Brad.
like, ah, god damn it.
You're gonna like it, Brad.
I know
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
like it.
like it. Like I'm not saying that. I'm just like they don't need to do that.
It's okay. They do it from the bottom of their heart because they
I know.
love and care about
So
you,
thank you, Rachel.
motherfucker. Thank you, Rachel. All right. And of course, what's it called? Thank you all so much. And we'll see you all tomorrow for our review of Eternals. And yeah, I'm glad that I can still somehow do this with, a sort of a setup because it is a little difficult.
Survivors of Flame Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah. That. And Brad, send them out.
All right, Roll. Thank you, being host as always. Thank you to all those who joined us in chat today. Thank you to all our listeners out there, all our Patreon supporters. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all for making this year great. Um, Even though we cannot find a regular schedule, like fucking at all.
Seems that the
Maybe next
effects
year
of
will
the
be better.
pandemic. Seems that the effects of the pandemic have
I
hit a
don't know.
lot.
At least we're getting movies now. Like that's something.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's good because there was a
that's a good thing.
period
Like
during
we can
last
talk
year,
about new movies.
yeah, that there was nothing that we were able to watch.
But yeah. So I guess just to end this episode, I'll say have a good one, yo. Young Yoda out.
Go hit the end broadcast for me.